not just talking about it. Not like, yo, this song I like this. Yeah. It was like trying to tear down this.
But on the accountability tip, if you go out there and beg a nigga to start with you, if you go out there and insist that we have this dance because we've been the best for too long, just me and you for 10 years, then part of that you gotta be willing to take all that comes with. That's part of battle.
All right, so if y'all don't know, yesterday a interview with Jay-Z and GQ came out, and so we're here to see what the internet's so-called Hovengers have to say about this interview. Of course, we talking about the Joe Budden Podcast. You better like the video. Like. And let's get to it. Make sure you subscribe too. All right,
so Hov sat with Frazier for GQ and did an interview that all of these clips released on the day we're recording. Somebody up there loves us. Somebody up there loves us. They asked him about a bunch of shit. His name being dragged through the mud for the last year. They asked him about the battle, which seems to have people in a tidbit, in a frenzy about it.
Super Bowl, album plans, a lot was covered. And I do want to shout out Frazier Thorpe from GQ. He absolutely bodied this interview. Really good questions, had insightful questions, had quotes from lyrics just off the cuff. It seems like well-researched. He bodied that.
Frazier's great. Shout out to Frazier. Here we go. Here's a clip, and I'm asking about the Kendrick and Drake beef.
We love the excitement, and I love the sparring and the music you get. But in this day and age, it's so much negative stuff that comes with it that you almost wish it didn't happen.
Really?
Yeah, because it's almost like it's a final thing. Now people that like Kendrick hate Drake.
Yeah.
No matter what he makes, no matter what he says, and it goes far too. It's like attack on his character and his thing and it's like, I don't know if I love that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's helpful to our growth. Especially on on social media, which takes place every day.
The Stan armies fight.
Yeah, and it's like it's too far.
Yeah.
I'm not just talking about it. Not like, yo, this song I like this. That was like trying to tear down this life.
Yeah.
It's like trying to, wreck this guy's marriage or this guy's relationship with his child. And it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know if it's worth it at this point. I don't know if battling needs to be part of it.
Oh my God, Sean Carter.
I hate that I had this point of view. I do, because I know it.
I'm glad he recognizes it.
I know what it feels like.
Buddy,
I hate it.
No.
I'm glad that he recognizes it.
Yeah, but he don't care.
No, he don't care. This was
I'm off this.
Yeah, I didn't love this take, especially
why not? Couldn't disagree more.
I was outside when Nas and Hov was a thing. It was divisive.
Super ugly.
It's super ugly bringing kids into it.
Super ugly was like I live kind of in baby seat. It didn't come with the shit that happened between Kendrick and Drake. It's not even close.
I think it's a
social media amplified it.
A drop of water in a pool, bro.
I agree.
I disagree.
I totally.
You got one man that's being labeled as a certain thing forever. And social media just amplified it. Back in those days, it wasn't that. Nah.
Dre Day?
Well, that's why I fuck your bitch, you fat motherfucker. What Jay said.
What do you think they said to Tim Dog?
I fucked your girl. No, that's something that happens in our community all the time. That's nothing.
No, what I'm saying is Snoop and Dre was literally calling people house.
Yeah, they were.
Literally.
I don't remember that. I'm sorry.
It was.
I wasn't around.
Go back and listen to Fuck With Dre.
I wasn't around for that.
I just think that to his point, I think that the social media thing takes it to a different stratosphere that we didn't have back then. I remember literally me and my man going outside of work when they was teasing we got a new Jay-Z shit. It was a thing. It was a regional thing. Yep. It wasn't an international thing. You get what I'm saying? I think it's a drop in the bucket.
So you said hip hop outgrew it. Because that's the only thing that changed.
No, I'm saying
is hip hop grew to an international level.
No, social media is now putting the shit in front of our faces every single day. The internet is our lives.
It's not.
No, it's not.
That's not
it's
true.
Not real life.
That's
what the shit sells.
That's what y'all niggas can believe. Y'all
sells.
niggas can say that theoretically. Today's society, the internet plays a huge part in niggas' lives. Niggas wake up and check their phone before they say their prayers. Y'all can say whatever the fuck y'all want to say. The internet is a lot of people's lives, especially the younger generation. And I'm not defending Drake because I think what Drake did was wrong too.
And when y'all are done, I'd like to talk on
You brought this nigga's wife into it. You brought him hitting his wife, all of that shit into it. Now this nigga could potentially lose deals, getting looked at as a woman beater. I think all of this shit is stupid, but the internet magnifies it in a way that we never had before.
I think that just on the whole thing, I think one, as you get older in a culture or in society, you start to look at shit different.
Yes.
And you start to get a little nostalgic, and you start to forget about the impact of the shit that you did. It's hard, and I think there has to be a little more self-critique there. Like if he says, "Look, I made Super Ugly. That shit went too far. I saw how that played out, and so now it's that times 100 because of the internet." I kind of get that.
That's
point
what he said, though. He said, "Yo, I regret it."
I get that. He said that then he regretted it. But what I'm saying is that, but he still doesn't regret the battle. He just regrets going too far. To me, the answer to this is not to say we don't need battles in hip hop, because the battle to me is an essential part of hip hop. The competitive nature of it. And no, we can't all just get on the track and kill a beat together and see who's better. Some of that shit is about the adversarial nature of it. That is what hip hop is about. That's the essence of hip hop. Whether it's b-boying, whether it's
well, he spoke to that because he said all them other parts are not in hip hop no more.
And
he said breakdancing was a part of it. It's not here anymore.
And I hate that's what
he
I'm
said
saying.
graffiti. He named a couple street artists, but he was like, it's not really a mainstream, a part of hip hop like that anymore. The DJ used to be the DJ and then the rapper. Not here no more. You don't know these DJs.
I didn't love any of that either.
Yes, I didn't like none of that.
Yeah, I disagreed with all of that.
It's like get rid of hip hop.
Hope was just talking.
Yeah, Ray Vaughn and them last year was a fucking melee. And granted, they're not Hove and Kendrick, but it was still just competitive hip hop that didn't involve no mudslinging, no kids, no babies, no nothing. So to dismiss battling as a part of hip hop because that ruined it, I think is
No, I didn't say that.
No,
but
Hove did.
No, but the thing is, where do we stop the line? Like with the
kids and wives, like you said.
Yeah, with Joey Badass and them, they weren't taking personal shots at each other's families and potentially losing niggas deals.
That's
you know
my
what I'm
point.
saying? Like,
That's
yo,
the solution.
that's my
I'm
point.
saying it's like don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Let's just like most said in Black on Both Sides. Like we act like hip hop is a giant in the hills away from us, and we are hip hop. We can say
That's true.
Let's have the battles, but let's make some rules.
I agree.
That's all I'm saying. I ain't getting rid of the battle though.
And that only worked like when these two niggas that really don't like each other, a lot of times that rule shit go out the window.
Jay-Z has transcended hip hop. You don't get to where he is without transcending. So I do appreciate this level of maturity from him. I appreciate his unique point of view that only he can kind of give from his viewpoint. But when you transcend hip hop, you got to be aware that sometimes, like I said, some of the stuff you're looking at, you're not just speaking about culture. Like, so when he says that tagging is no longer in hip hop, I vehemently disagree and don't really understand that from him as an art collector. Knowing the story of Basquiat, knowing the story of just hearing Nas writers, just I can't accept that from Jay-Z. That's some interview shit.
Yeah.
One. When I went to the restaurant that I spoke about in Staten Island, Shaunae's house, before I left, she said, "Yo, can you please tag this wall?" In some of the famous venues that we've been to, it's a thing to tag the wall. In jail, we tagging up is still it's a cultural thing. It's a culture thing when Common is on Jennifer Hudson and ends it with breakdancing.
Yes.
Like, we're not really talking about the hip hop mainstream hip hop, record label hip hop. That's a culture conversation, and Jay-Z is a part of culture. So I can't.
I can see how you'd be separated from it being a multi-billionaire, 60-year-old, like, and that's cool. Like, I'm not mad at it, but I think it was a little dismissive of these elements that are still active and important.
Hip hop started on Sedgwick at a fucking house party, at a party so every hood could come together and fucking get to the shits. You can't tell me that you go to a party with one of the playlist DJs and then go to a party with a real DJ and tell me about the time that you had.
That part.
Yeah. You can't, there's nothing that Jay-Z can tell me that says that that's not a cultural thing.
It's still important.
Also, when it comes to battling, like some of Mark said, man, this is a very competitive genre filled with a lot of ego and a lot of people that didn't go to therapy and learn the best way to express themselves to one another. So you're gonna have feuds.
Sure.
You're gonna have run-ins. You're gonna have battle. But to only highlight the negative that come from battle means that we skipping some of the positives that come from battle. And again, for Jay-Z to be the one saying it, you to me are the beacon of some of the positive that comes from fucking battle. You and Nas, the two niggas that got it on one of the best battles ever, are two pillars in business.
Yeah. And
y'all done performed together, y'all done did songs together, y'all answered the fans' requests, wanting to see all that shit, but y'all matured. Like, I think that should be a part of hip-hop's story too. But now, as you grow up, like, hip-hop is 50 years old. Yeah. We should be allowed to grow up. I did take that away from what he was saying.
It's also contradictory in the fact that he was talking about Kendrick's huge year in the Super Bowl and all that shit. And a lot of that was off of the battle. Like, so
we didn't all come from the two-parent household. So some of these things, like fucking accountability and yada yada, we had to learn from hip hop,
from trial.
Another thing,
which is hold up, man. Let me go. That's another thing that I had a problem with his Kendrick and Drake stuff. Cause fan base is taking too far.
They do.
I agree with that.
They do.
Yeah, you would hope that people don't bring up kids and want to destroy your personal life. All of that's fine. But on the accountability tip, if you go out there and beg a nigga to start with you, if you go out there and insist that we have this dance because we've been the best for too long, just me and you for 10 years, then part of that you gotta be willing to take all that comes with. That's part of battle.
Okay. Yeah.
Part of battle is risk assessment. Especially if you think you was gonna get a one-up and now in the middle of the fight you realize a nigga's stronger than you thought. All of that is part of the tango. I don't wanna be in a hip-hop where that tango don't get to exist. Now, all of these talking points, I agree with everything he said if we switch the conversation to drill.
Yeah.
Cause then it's not worth it to me.
But that's where it gets tricky.
It's not worth. But he didn't. He wasn't having a drill conversation. He wasn't talking about smoking on, rolling up such and such,
digging up in graves.
And he wasn't talking about all of that. When hip hop was getting scary, evil, it wasn't all battles need to stop.
Agreed.
It wasn't all of that. So now when two niggas get together and seemingly, to my knowledge, nobody got hurt. Even when Ish talk about Drake house getting shot up, I can't attribute that to Kendrick versus Drake. All I get from that is the two best doing their best in battle, and there was a victor. And yes, social media is mean. But the block used to be mean. School used to be mean. Shit used to be mean.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Y'all can go ahead. I just don't want to live in a hip hop where you can't battle somebody.
The Jay-Z.
Where you go in the club and you can't say to a nigga, yo, your sneakers is whack. Like hip hop we talking about. Nigga, Jay-Z done shot at niggas in Harlem World.
He did.
Jay-Z done shot at niggas you knew, didn't. It's a long list of names. Me.
I wanted to ask y'all what y'all thought about the J. Cole remarks.
I didn't say, here's this record from Stargate and you putting it out like I forced Bleak to make Memphis Bleak is. Bleak is my little brother. He has to listen to me. But for J. Cole, he has to find his own direction, and I'm going to give him the tools. Stargate made humongous records with Rihanna, Wiz Khalifa, Black and Yellow. Biggest songs in the world. You don't want to go sit with them? Fine. I don't have any negative feelings for him. I'm actually super proud of him and what he's done.
It's, okay. Yeah, it was a little more, because they asked him where you stand today. But I took that as I tried to.
Yeah.
You ain't want to listen.
You ain't listen.
You ain't listen.
I tried to what?
I tried to guide you this way. Mm-hmm. You didn't want to listen. Go figure it out. Oh shit, you did.
Okay.
Right.
And then we also look at.
But also, like, if you had listened, you might have been somewhere else. But I'm glad you are where you are.
You were where you wanted to be on your own.
Yeah.
And you know, I look up all Cole's albums, everything. All is him now. So he obviously went back and bought everything. I could see some little issues in there.
I don't think it's that deep. I think it's exactly how he laid it out. I tried to push you in one way, it didn't work out. You go do your own thing. And Cole probably feels a way about his back catalog being old still, and he done built the shit up his own way. So he should. I think it's that. I don't think it's really much deeper than that. I don't think it's anything nefarious or. I mean, it is.
That's pretty deep to me.
But it's not.
Hey, you go your way. We tried it this way. Hey, bygones be bygones, no love lost, and we'll never speak, be seen together, rap together, be featured together, never anything together for the rest of life. And I'll appear closer to Pusha T than I will this guy that I broke and took from nothing in North Carolina to one of the biggest rap superstars, just like I wanted to on the Backstage DVD when I was looking for people eating a cereal. Okay. You were not going to get me to believe that. No. The problem when you don't speak to people often, like we don't get a Cole interview often, is that when you speak to them, we got to rehash all of this shit that I personally have moved on from.
Right.
Like Cam was asking him good shit. Like Cam, whatever you didn't like from the Deska, Cam was getting right to it. And it's like, I personally am just off of this. And I think those are the two interviews he need to do. Deska, his people, and Cam, who he once promised to interview. Go do the shit.
I'm glad he did the Cam shit.
Me too. Made me happy.
I didn't think it was gonna happen. I'm real glad he did that one.
That shocked me.
Yeah, and I'm glad they addressed all the shit.
All right, man. A lot to say. That Jay-Z topic got the room heated. First and foremost, I wanted to say, is Joe a part of this fan base that maybe Jay was alluding to, right? I think he also wanted to say these podcasts, but maybe it didn't come to his mind while he was doing the interview. But I would assume, and I could be wrong, I think when Jay is looking at all of the madness that is inside of these new beefs, he's talking about the YouTube channels, the podcasts, but I think it can all be sucked in as the crazy fans. In the last video, I said, you know what? I can see where Jay is coming from. A lot of y'all too childish when it comes to battles. I feel like a lot of y'all don't let stuff go, and before it was able to kind of just be a battle and then it dissolved back into culture. But then Joe started hitting with them points like, hold on. What about the growth? What about watching Jay and Nas come together, do songs, get on stage? What about Jay and Nas becoming these super rich billionaires? What about all of the success and the story that you can tell from, look at these two dudes who used to be rappers, they came from the streets, they was even at odds at one point, and Esh got heated, but look where we are now. Hey nigga, donate! Hit the super chat, scan the PayPal, hit the Cash App. Thank you. Have a blessed day. And that is an example of stories in hip hop that should be told. Like Mark said, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. And so, yeah, maybe beef and sport and competitive nature and all of that stuff should still be in hip hop, but it should be rules. But that's where the problem comes. These young boys, they don't care about no rules. And see, I like how Joe tried to make it about drill and stuff like that. Look, when they was over there, what's the homie name? Julio Fulio, who passed away recently, when he was beefing with Young and Ace. But see, I don't know if this audience pays attention to that, but that's a whole different type of beefing. And I think that's where Jay-Z is coming from. Like, okay, yeah, some battles can end like the Drake and Kendrick thing, where just somebody's reputation gets besmirched. But these days, these young people, they taking it left, and you can't tell them how to regulate a battle, what not to say, what not to do. And I could also say maybe what we saw in the Drake and Kendrick beef is a little bit of the aftermath that comes from what some of these young dudes is doing. Because Drake and Kendrick, they're not going to go that far, but they still know, oh, we in a toxic generation, so let's start talking about wives. Let's start talking about family members, okay? But I know a lot of y'all watching this video right now and y'all saying, don't forget about the part where Joe was talking about accountability for Drake. And I like when Joe said risk assessment. That is very important in a battle. That is very important in life. Sometimes you make decisions and you have to weigh risk assessment. And whatever you do, you have to accept what comes with that. But also, I would have to agree with Joe when he said, hey, I feel like sometimes Jay was just talking, and some of these things that he said was out of hip hop, it might have transformed. It might be different from back in his day, but it still exists. Tagging and art and dancing, all of that stuff still exists too. And I love the fact that the whole Vengers can kind of see through some of the bullshit too, because I think a lot of us notice that all the time. These super rich billionaires, there's always one take where you say, you a little too rich now, so you don't get it. And I think Jay had a couple of those moments in the GQ interview as well. And to lastly touch on the part where he talked about J. Cole, and I like how they kind of mixed in the J. Cole and Cameron thing too. But I keep telling y'all, it's funny how Ice said the same thing I said. Remember when I gave y'all the analogy of when I heard Jay talking about J. Cole, it sounded like that dad who still love his son. But he like, hey, you did something I don't like, I still love you, but I'm gonna love you from afar now. And that's how it sounded even to Ice and a few other people in the room, where it's like, okay, I tried to help you, we had some differences, I'm not gonna say nothing bad about you, but yeah, we had an issue and we didn't parted ways. And I wish I would have saw that poll that I put on that video, because I asked y'all, do y'all feel like J. Cole's career increased or got better without Roc Nation? And I think it's obvious that J. Cole was still able to flourish, still able to make hundreds of millions of dollars without Jay-Z behind him. But it can also be an ego thing from Jay, where it's like, look, I've been right so many times with so many artists, helping and guiding artists, that yeah, I might feel a little way that this young guy, he left from under my wing and he started going crazy. And now he can look at it and say, Jay-Z ain't know what he was talking about with my career. That don't mean J. Cole don't respect Hove and all of his knowledge in the music industry and some of the wisdom he might have passed down to Cole. But at the same time, sometimes as an artist, you do have to make decisions for yourself and say, this is the route I want to go in my career. And maybe somebody from a different generation or a different time, they don't have the toolkit to help me get to where I want to get. And my whole point of saying that is, maybe if Cole didn't take that route, he wouldn't be where he is today. And that might bother Hove a little bit, right? So, excellent episode. I know I had a lot to say today, but y'all tell me what y'all think in the comments. Enjoy the rest of y'all week. I'll come back if I see something else to talk about, of course. Thanks for watching. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.